6:36, and I think it's the 22nd of July. Anyway, it's Wednesday, and you're lucky this morning, because yesterday morning I did the same thing. I thought I was taping for Lord knows how long, only to discover the batteries weren't any good. So I have to retape much of that drivel, but I probably will have to shorten it since Robert just got out of the shower and the bus comes probably around 7 o'clock. Is that right? So I'll try to condense what I have to say. I don't really have anything to say, but I'll think of something. I don't know what Robert mentioned about the flight. Did you say anything about the flight? It was a miserable flight, the worst we've ever had. We had about a 3-hour delay in JFK. Naturally, it was air-conditioned, but you'd never know. And it was jammed with people sitting on the floor everywhere. Then we got on the airplane, and the seats were very small and uncomfortable, and the kids were just kind of moaning much of the time, and I felt like moaning too, because you couldn't move to get comfortable. You just could sit straight ahead. And the service was not particularly good. We had asked for aspirin probably at least 3 times and never did get it. But anyway, we got here, and of course picked up Biscuit. She seemed to fare all okay, except when we picked her up on this end, we discovered she was in heat, and it was dripping all over our clothes. And that was kind of a mess meeting these people, 3 men from the office, and here we had this dog. So anyway, we survived that. But we've been here in the guest quarters now since the 1st, and it's quite comfortable. We have 4 bedrooms, completely furnished. We have maid service every day, television, but the television doesn't offer too much. We have 1 military station in English, and we get things like Love Boat, Equalizer, once a week, maybe Hunter, Cosby, Fame, I think, but usually 1 show per evening. That's pretty much what you get. So it isn't too much in the way of television. And we've had very good weather up to Sunday. Now, today doesn't look too promising again, but they say prior to July 1st it was the worst spring in 103 years. We've had nothing but sun and low 80s and very low humidity. It's been wonderful. We've had a few days that have been, the humidity got a little high. And of course, air conditioning doesn't really exist in Germany because it doesn't normally get that hot. So when the humidity does get up there, it does get uncomfortable. But it did rain on Sunday, and it looks like it may rain today, and it did rain yesterday, at least half of the day. So we're having a little bit of rain now, but we're hoping that we'll have a fairly decent summer. So far, everything has gone smoothly, although the car has taken longer to arrive than we thought. We're still waiting for it, but expect it to come any day. Bob will be away all next week up in Stuttgart for a training conference, so I hope the car is here. I haven't taken the driving test, which is quite difficult, about 100 questions. I need to study for that, and of course if I don't take the test, I can't drive. So there's a bus that comes around once an hour and takes us, over to McGraw, which is where most of the businesses are, although right here in Perlacher Forest, which is the housing area, we have, fortunately, the PX and a new Burger King that's real nice. The school, 2 schools, elementary and high school, and the sort of a family services building where they have youth activities and various other things like the lending closet. But we're going to be moving into a duplex around the 5th of August, hopefully, which will be even closer to the PX and closer to the train station. It's not really a station, it's just the tracks. You cross over the tracks, which is illegal. And you can catch the train downtown. And it will be very close to the elementary school. So That'll be good. The duplex will have 4 bedrooms, but the rooms are very small. We were disappointed in the room size. But the kitchens are beautiful. They really are nice. They put a lot of money into them, the duplexes. But there are a lot of trees around, so it's a fairly pleasant area, and a lot of bike paths and pretty areas, playgrounds. There's a playground very close, and well, we don't have a telephone yet. We have to use the pay telephone in the next building, which has been a nuisance. 089 from Munich. 6229. And then 8370. That's Robert's work number. We'll have a street address, but you won't need that, of course. We called Robin last night. She'll be coming back Saturday. I think she's having a pretty good time. She's going to get a job, hopefully, in the daycare center. Whether or not she goes to University of Maryland, it remains to be seen. She seemed to be greatly relieved when we told her she didn't have to, because when she arrived, she was very upset and spent time in her. Of course, she had not slept and really had not eaten for several days, so she spent the first 2.5 days or so in bed in her room. Look in the basket. It might be wet, though. Robert's looking for socks now. It's really great doing your laundry down about 3 flights in a laundry room with other people. Actually, it's not too bad, except I hate waiting for the stuff to get dry. So sometimes I bring it back up damp and let it dry up here. So where was I? So anyway, Robin was determined to come back right away. She thought it was worse than she thought. She didn't want to stay. So finally she agreed to stay for a while. And our sponsor, who works at the daycare center, said they really are desperate for workers there, and she could probably get a job there with no trouble. So that seemed to perk her up a lot. So she's going to apply for a job there. Naturally, the salary isn't too great, but it's good enough for right now. Ironically enough, Becca has been working there as a volunteer. This is her 2nd week. She leaves here about 10 to 8 and stays till about 5 o'clock. It's amazing. I thought she'd be tired of it after about 3 days, but she really enjoys, taking care of the little children, and they go on field trips. And she really seems to enjoy it, so this will be her 2nd week. Unfortunately, she can't get paid until she's 14 and can be hired on as a summer hire, so that's disappointing to her, but hopefully she can take a Red Cross babysitting course soon so she can start doing babysitting. So, and of course Brian has been in camp. I don't know if he's going to agree to go next week or not. It goes from 9 to 2 p.m. and it's only $15 a week, so it certainly is cheap enough. Last week he missed a little field trip to a little fantasy park because he kind of misbehaved a little bit. So this week they're going down to Kempsey, which is a large military recreation area which consists mainly of a huge lake. So I think I might tag along. That's on Friday. They have a lot of activities there. The kids probably just go swimming, but you can take courses in windsurfing and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that far, maybe 30 miles. So the camp situation is nice. And you can just really let the kids go. There's never any worry of any crime. The only thing, I think, bicycles can be stolen, but crime is virtually unheard of, and it's such a nice area that kids can just roam freely, and the area is just dotted all over with real nice playgrounds, so he can just sort of go about at will and play play. He's made a lot of friends. There are a lot of children here, so that makes it nice. So, on the downside, it's expensive here. I haven't really been downtown shopping except for once when we took the walking tour of Munich. But with the dollar being weak, we generally most people try to buy most everything at the PX. But food, even going out for a meal, it is expensive. We went on Sunday to the Deutsches Museum here in Munich, and that's very similar to the Aerospace Museum in Washington. And Brian really seemed to enjoy that. That has at least 7 floors, so you can't possibly see it all in one day, so we'll need to go back for that. So there's so many things that we haven't seen yet. So we want to start getting out. I guess I would have gotten out more, except it's not really difficult moving around. It's just that the system is a little involved, and until you feel comfortable with it, I guess it's a little intimidating. Like on Sunday when we went to the museum, we walked from church over to the Straßenbahn, which is a streetcar station. That was about a half a mile or so. And of course, the cars and trains, buses run often, so that's generally no problem. So we caught the streetcar downtown to a certain point, and then we had to transfer to the U-Bahn, which is an underground train, to get where we wanted to go. So by the time you do that and then walk to where you want to go, you're already exhausted. So fortunately, when we came out of there, it was pouring down the rain, and we just decided to take a taxi. So we were home in 10 minutes' time, so that was great. So once we learned the system, the train, of course, is a lot faster to get downtown than the streetcar. So that's how most people travel. So I'm going to go on Thursday with a friend. And we're just going to poke around a little bit and see what's going. Because we really need to try to do most of that before the weather gets cold. I've joined a German group of women. This sort of happened accidentally. We went to a promotion dinner at one of the local German restaurants. Bob's, the man that he's replacing, had been promoted, so he and 2 other men had an open invitation for people to come to this dinner, which I thought was terribly extravagant, but anyway, I guess there were about 30 people there. And I forget why I'm telling this story now, which is typical. I do that all the time. Anyway, I met a lot of people there. A lot of the people I have met, unfortunately, are leaving. Some very nice women. They are military families, and they're going back to the States. Some of them are 2 families, or even going back to Colombia. But right away they asked me if I spoke a little German, and I sort of halfway lied and said yes. So they asked if I wanted to join this weekly coffee group whereby the women try to improve their German. It's kind of nice how that evolved. About 5.5 years ago, another military wife, Nancy Reinman, was taking a German class in a nearby village. And she discovered that there were some German women who were taking an English course, and both classes were remarking that, gee, it would be nice to find a group of people so they could practice their English and their German. So that's how the 2 groups met. So they started to meet once a month, and then gradually they upped it to once a week, where they go and they speak some English and some German. And then they get together once a month with the husbands. So that's been going on all these years. So last week, I ended up, I almost went to 2 lunches. One American woman was giving a luncheon because she was leaving, and normally they just have coffee, but since she was leaving, she invited them all for lunch. And then on Thursday, one of the German women had everybody over for lunch. Well, I had forgotten about that. I thought they were talking about next Thursday. That's how good my German is. So somebody appeared at my door at 9 o'clock in the morning, and here I'm still in my robe, so I quickly threw my clothes on. Unfortunately, I had had a big breakfast already, sausage and an egg, the whole works. So here we are sitting out in her backyard around a table, sipping wine at 10:15 in the morning after having breakfast. Fortunately, though, the portions, you don't really overeat at something like that. And she had lasagna and other things, so it was fairly light. Like I say, the portions weren't big, so it wasn't a problem. Of course, eating never is a problem for me. So that was kind of funny. But they do seem like a nice crowd of people, and everybody does speak a little bit of English, except for one woman. She understands it, but she doesn't speak it. And then there's another woman who is from Iceland, but she married a German, and really German is her third language. But I'm hoping that it will improve my German considerably, just meeting, because it is difficult to meet Germans and speak German living on the base, because the Germans who work here speak English, of course. So we'll see how that works out. Finally got Becca a bicycle. She wanted a specific ones. They have these Cannondale touring bicycles down it. They have a beautiful sport shop. It really is a nice PX, but they're $600. But they did have another little 10-speed. You saw a lot of the gray and pink bicycles, and that's what she said she wanted. Well, fortunately, they came in yesterday, so we have to quickly get over there, and they're going to put it together, and she'll have that. So that'll be nice. Brian's bicycle immediately got a flat tire on it as soon as he got it, and I looked at it, and the tire was worn. So we'll have to get it down to a German shop, get a tire, and have them put on. I hope they have the proper size. So we'll just need another one for Robin if she wants one. And of course, everybody rides bicycles over here. I don't know what they do when it snows. And actually, people are skiing now. You see skis occasionally on the top of a car, but they must go into Austria and ski the glacier, which I guess is at the very top of the mountain. Sounds dangerous, but some people do it. But we did go to a fest. We'll have to tell you about this fest, which was really crazy. You had to almost see it to believe it. We had, when we first arrived here on the grounds of Perlacher Forest, what is called the Little Oktoberfest. And this is sort of an American Oktoberfest that's held in July every year to commemorate the 4th of July. Well, it lasts for at least 5 days, I think, and it's sort of a carnival. And it's quite popular with the Germans. They seem to love it. Plus, in addition to the carnival, there's some rides and things like that, and food. They'll have a big tent, and that's where the fest is held. They'll have a band and food in there. Most of the food consists of roasted meat and German potato salad and Wurst, the sausages, and of course the liters of beer. And it is amazing to see these women carry 6 of those things in their hand, at least 3, if not 4 in each hand. It's amazing to see, and they're all dressed in Bavarian costumes. But it's very noisy, and of course the music. When we first went to the Oktoberfest here on the grounds, we just walked through and then went in and had a bite to eat and left. But a group of people were going down to the next village, Unterhaching, to their fest. And of course this is what happens in the summer. Each village will have its own fest, and they last for about a week. So we thought, well, we would go, mainly because the chief of station who had left about a year ago was back for about 3 weeks, and he wanted to go, and quite a few people were going. So even though it was on a Friday night and, we were kind of tired and really didn't feel like it, we went anyway. So there were about 17 people there, and the band, we sat up close to the band, which was nice. We could see because they do a lot of comedy acts with their singing. I thought they were very good. They were called Tropical Rain. But the bad news was it was fairly loud. But anyway, as you go through, you go and eat. I had something called Libracasa, which I had ordered quite by accident. When the first day, that weekend we went out, we rented a car. We got this big Ford van. It's a really nice van. And we stopped at this little village, at this little beer garden. As it turned out, it was attached to a farm. And I thought it was ideal. Of course, the kids hated it, mainly because here was the waft of manure as you're sitting there out in the beer garden in the sun, and there were about 5,000 flies. But I thought it was pretty nice anyway. But anyway, I ordered this Libracasa, and I thought it was something made of cheese because it had casa on the end of it. As it turned out, it was a big slab of kind of like a meatloaf, but real fine meat, ground meat. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't think there's any liver in it. Liver might be liver. But it had a fairly mild taste, but they put a fried egg on top of it. We had that with potato salad. So anyway, that's what you can get at a fest. You can get roast chicken or pork, sort of like a ham hock. Sausages with sauerkraut. Sauerkraut's very good. And the pretzels are wonderful. Never had such a good pretzel as the other night at that fest while it was still warm. It was about the size of a dinner plate. But of course, it was shaped into a pretzel, so it wasn't solid bread, but it was really delicious. So anyway, you get a big mass of beer, which is a liter. And unfortunately, it took me all evening to drink that. And of course, in the meantime, it gets warm, but anyhow. So anyway, after a while, the crowd gets a little raucous, and before you know it, everybody's singing. Of course, we don't know the words to the songs yet. But then after a while, everybody starts standing up on the benches where you're sitting and clapping and stomping their feet and carrying on. And then that progresses into dancing in the aisles. So, you just had to see this to believe it. But it was a lot of fun. And I would like to see this group again. One of the women I met, who is British, said her husband likes to follow this group all over southern Bavaria. He likes them so well. So he's been on TDY. We haven't met him yet, but we're supposed to go out to a dinner on Friday night to hail and farewell. This is a dinner given for people who are leaving and who are arriving. So we will be one of those people who are arriving this time. So it's going to be at a restaurant some distance outside of Munich. But it's also the same night that the Tropical Rain is playing at another fest. So if we decide to go, that might be a possibility. Oh, you want me to mail it? Yeah. I got this little padded envelope yesterday to mail this.
Yeah, see if you're going to tell Four Seasons about the bicycle you want.
Do I have to pay for it?
Possibly. I'll give it
All right. Okay. Robert's leaving, and I'm still talking, so I guess I'll mail this myself. So anyway, we might go, if I wouldn't mind going and seeing it a Tropical Rain again. It really was something else. I don't know if they're all that crazy, but somebody said that this type of band, and especially Tropical Rain, is better than an Umpa band. It's just, they had a lot, like I say, they had a lot of comical skits where they wore hats, and they were very good. It was a young group of maybe 5 musicians, and the only thing that would have made it better would have been to understand the words of the songs and to be able to sing along, but a lot of the tunes were familiar. And they did play some Glenn Miller. They played kind of a wide range of songs, but it was good. I'm not sure of what is worse, being without a telephone or being without a car. Now, we're really low in groceries, and Cheryl and Jim were over last night. They live in the next building. They're new, too, and they have they bought a used BMW. It seems like just about everybody drives a BMW or a Mercedes, if they've been here any time at all. Well, they got this real nice BMW. It's only 2 years old. So she offered to take me to the commissary today, so I might take her up on it, because we are really down almost to zero in food. And if you go over, you can take the bus over, but you can only carry about one bag, and that's really not very much at all. And of course, not having the phone, there is a phone out in the hall right outside our door, but they told us that's for military use, and it's usually used by the cleaning people as they try to call each other. But after they leave, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you probably can use it. I've only used it a couple of times, but you really do need to have some kind of phone service here, take care of business and what have you. So, that's about it. I can't think of anything else. We'll let you know what happens, and let us know what you all are up to. Seems like years ago that we were in Ocean City. Absolute years. But, our sponsors have been very, very nice. They had the kitchen stocked with food, even wine and different kinds of German beer and sodas and all kinds of food, cooked chicken and all kinds of goodies. So that helps. You just need to get your car and get into your quarters, but the people are just in the process of leaving these quarters, and then they have to be cleaned, so it takes a while. But really, we're quite comfortable here. We have plenty of room. We can sleep 8 people, and we're on the 2nd floor, so it's not so bad as far as walking up. And it's in a pretty good location. You just need to rely on the bus. You can walk over to McGraw, but it's probably about a mile. We've done it, but it just is time consuming to do that. So anyway, I'll sign off for now, and we'll keep you posted, and enjoy the summer. I noticed on the news last night it was 98 degrees somewhere. That's hard to imagine it's really that hot, but that's the reality. Well, so long, and talk to you again.